Do you know the story of the Native American tribes, from the earliest known histories to the first European contact to the modern day? The Five Civilized Tribes tried to adapt to the American way of life, while others fought to keep their land. So which was more successful? Did the Americans try to wipe out the Native Americans, or was it simply a war for land rights? Was the United States government to blame for thousands of Native American deaths? And how did things end up the way they are today? In this audiobook, you will learn the answers to these questions and more, like the Five Civilized Tribes, the Cherokee, the Muskogee or the Creek, the Seminole, the Choctaw, and the Chickasaw. You'll learn about the role of disease in the European colonization of America. You'll learn about great Native American fighters like Tecumseh, Crazy Horse, and Black Hawk. You'll learn about great Native American leaders like Pushmataha, Chief John Ross, and Blue Jacket. You'll learn what role Andrew Jackson played in the Indian Removal Act. And you'll learn the reality of Native Americans who owned slaves. You'll also learn the real story behind the Trail of Tears. And you'll learn about great battles like Fallen Timbers, Tippecanoe, Little Bighorn, and St. Clair's defeat, and massacres at Sand Creek and Wounded Knee, and the devastation at Prospect Bluff. You'll learn how the Native Americans used and were used by the Americans, the British, and the Spanish in the southeastern United States. And you'll learn so much more. The phrase, history of Native Americans, can be misleading. For instance, consider the name Native Americans. This should surely include all indigenous peoples of the great land masses of North and South America. However, Native American often doesn't include the civilizations of Central America and the Yucatan Peninsula, like the Mayan, the Olmec, and the Aztec. This name does not encompass the various groups that lived and still live in the Andes Mountains or the vast Amazon basin. Native American can also mean the Inuit people of the frozen north and the native Hawaiians. For our purposes, though, Native American refers exclusively to the indigenous people that lived in what is now the continental United States of America. More specifically, we are focusing primarily on 5 peoples: the Cherokee, the Choctaw, the Chickasaw, the Creek, and the Seminole. In past centuries, these have been called the Five Civilized Tribes. This name, of course, is misleading. What earlier scholars were trying to say by giving these tribes the civilized moniker is that they attempted to adopt the hallmarks of American society. These Native Americans would don suits and dresses, they'd speak English, and they converted to Christianity. The men cut their hair short, and the families lived in permanent settlements where they focused on agriculture. Some of them also owned slaves. This was, for earlier scholars, what made them civilized and set them apart from tribes that continued to dress in traditional clothes and live in semi-permanent villages where they worshiped their own gods and spoke their own languages. One of the criteria for civilization in the Western mind is writing. Writing, it is believed, sets civilized man apart from animals. Many Native Americans did not have a tradition of writing. They did not have alphabets, and it was believed they did not have records of their own history, though this would turn out to be incorrect. One of the greatest problems for European colonists in understanding Native Americans was the failure to realize they had entered a world that had recently been turned upside down. Before English colonists had landed in Jamestown and Plymouth Rock Plantation, the Native American population had been rocked by war, famine, and disease. The invasion of Europeans in Central America caused waves of change to ripple throughout the entire world. An exchange had begun that continues today. The exchange of people, ideas, goods, flora, and fauna, both seen and invisible. For Native Americans, this time seemed like it might be the end of the world, and in many ways, it was. Their world, as it had existed before the European colonies were gone,